Is it working again? Hello? Says we're live. Are we live? Actually, let me check the channel. Hello. Hopefully, it says we're live again, so hopefully we're live. Sorry about that. Twitch was having a little bit of a hiccup. I'm going to delete those tweets real quick because I said we won't be broadcasting because of the issues. But that is a lie. We are back. It's actually interesting. I was looking at Twitch. There's like 1,200 people broadcasting. Not even 1,200 people broadcasting. 1,200 people viewing for League of Legends, which is not correct at all. And just so everybody knows, this is the finals. This is going to be Fiesta facing off against Supernova. Obviously, this is a new Fiesta roster, but this is not the first time this organization has been here. And, of course, Supernova has been here for several of our tournaments. And it is going to be Fiesta on the blue side and Supernova on the red side. And, of course, in the top lane, we have Fiesta Splinter playing Gnar, facing off against Cavalry's Shen. And we have in the jungle, we have Overrate playing Echo, facing off against Arrow's Zac. So it's another Zac in the jungle, but this time not coming from NCSU Prime. And in the in the mid lane, I'm a little flustered after this whole thing. I was really frustrated. In the mid lane, we have Unlucky Carry back on the Orianna, facing off against Hopeful Talia. And, of course, in the bottom lane, last but certainly not least, we have Smurf partnering up with Christo on the Lucian and Karma, respectively. So that's a bit of a return for them. So that's 3 characters for Fiesta that have remained completely unchanged. Facing off against Yenny and Philly in the bottom lane, both playing Misfortune and Nami. Some little unusual picks coming out. We don't see a whole lot of Nami, and we've never seen Misfortune as far as I can remember. I'm trying to think if I have. I've been here for, I don't know, 40 weeks of broadcasts. I can't recall. Maybe not 40, but it's been a while. And I can't recall at all if I've seen a Misfortune ever. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Yeah. We are entering our delay. Of course, while we were talking about, while we were having our technical difficulty, I had the guys start the game up. And I'm glad that we're actually on the air. I'm glad we didn't have to wait too long for that. Alright, guys. We will be back shortly. That was quick. We're back! As we said, this is our finals. It is a best of 3. It's Fiesta starting off on the blue side and Supernova starting on the red side. Both teams going for, well, maybe not. Seeing Supernova going for the standard line of scrimmage, and Fiesta's doing a little different. They're completely ignoring their top side and kind of gathering on their bottom side jungle. They're not going aggressively, but they are sticking together. And during this extremely dull... Actually, I stepped a little left. Never mind. I was going to step a second, get a drink, because my fridge is right behind me. But I have some left still. We're good. I can't turn off a light, though. Gotta save that electricity. There we go. And we are seeing Fiesta spread out a little bit more. Only Splinter is away, though. Actually, I can go and turn that music off, can't I? There we go. That's better. What? what is going on here? In the bottom side, we see Yenny and Philly kind of sneaking into position there, wanting to possibly get a little ambush with the bubble, I'm assuming. And we are seeing Overrate start on the bottom side, working on those Krugs. Going to be able to very easily take those with additional help, of course. Don't think we've seen an Echo Jungle in a while. No. Smurf is going to take quite a bit of damage there, but he is returning it onto Philly. Now Yenny's actually taking a bit of damage from Cresta's Karma. Still, it's kind of hard to say who came out on top there. But we are seeing them start to heal up with the use of those potions. And the jungle, we actually see Arrows a little ahead of Overrate. Now Cresta's taking some damage from Yenny, so it's looking like Supernova is slightly ahead, but it was still pretty overall even trade. Unlucky Carry eating that little minefield of boulders from Hopeful's Talia. I actually completely forgotten what that ability is called because I've never once touched her. And Cavalry is going to avoid that Gnar damage with the use of the nice little dodge field. I also haven't played the new Shen at all. That's terrible. But Cavalry is behind in CS a little bit, but he has this nice big wave coming right up to his turret. Whether or not he gets it all, I don't know, because the camera won't stay there. It's bounced around quite a bit here. Ooh, Smurf eating that double up. No, we're seeing a ping on the blue buff. Arrow's actually going to be giving his blue buff away to Hopeful. Of course, that does make sense, but usually we see junglers taking that first buff for themselves for the experience, but Arrow feels like he doesn't need it. And of course, for Talia, that is going to be very, very useful, so hopefully he can take advantage of that. Fiesta Splinter doing Gnar things, being super annoying with that harass. But Cavalry doing just fine, still able to keep up in CS just alright. Now Cresta eating a bubble is ignited. And that is going to be double up hitting him, but Smurf is going to be popping that heal, and that is going to save Cresta's life. That was pretty close. Ooh, Cavalry taking that damage, unfortunately. And despite the tiny nerf Gnar did receive, he is still going to be pretty strong overall. Splinter just shoving that wave up super hard. He's always at that turret. He's starting to get a little bit of a CS lead, but Cavalry's actually doing a really good job picking up those creeps. If he gets those three right there, it'll be even. But Splinter is just shoving that wave as hard as he can. And Cavalry is able to pick it up really easily, though. Wow. Well, unfortunately for Splinter, not able to force those misses on the CS. And we have a little bit of a pause here. I wonder what is going on. I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity. I need to get in the habit of doing this during pauses. Making sure we're not giving away any free information. I don't know if this is going to be a 3-minute pause, guys, so we'll just have to wait it out. We'll have to be really careful. It'll give us an opportunity to talk about what exactly is going on across the map. Which is a whole lot of nothing. Basically, we're seeing trades overall here and there, but nothing too surprising. It looks like in the bottom side, it's the only side that's really had the opportunity to go back. Actually, no, that's incorrect. Both mid laners have gone back. I see now that I'm actually looking at the items. But trades are pretty even. Oh, and we're back. There we go. CS across the board is pretty even. Nothing too crazy in terms of advantage or disadvantage. Yeah, I mean, they're seeing less than 10 across the board everywhere. Way less than 10, to be fair, but... Ooh, Cresto taking a lot of damage once again from Yenny, but while that was happening, Smurf able to return quite a bit himself. But of course, that is going to be healed up relatively quickly by the Phillies Nami. Sushi that can heal, makes sense. Yeah, like that. Yenny's already back to about 80-90%. Ooh, Hopeful getting engaged on by Carry. He wanted to get a nice little combo on to Carry to try and knock him into the minefield, but Carry completely dodged it out and instead turned the tables on to Hopeful, forcing both a flash and a ghost. Arrow getting engaged on by Overrate is able to elastic slingshot out of the stun. And Smurf able to dodge the bubble and return some fire back onto Philly. Now we're always seeing some very, very solid overall play by Fiesta. Though Smurf is eating a lot of damage from Yenny. Unfortunately for Yenny, he does not quite have level 6 yet. There's the ult from Cavalry. Cavalry is actually going to force Overrate's flash. Cavalry using a flash Shadow Dash of his own to pick up Cresto. Sorry, Overrate didn't use his flash. He just, rolled out of the situation. Still, though, that is going to be first blood going over a Supernova. Who popped their flash in that fight? We see Yenny and Philly both pop their flash, and Cavalry popped his flash. Still, 3 flashes for a first blood, not the worst thing in the world, but that doesn't, of course, leave them very vulnerable to being ganked. Actually, I really haven't had the opportunity to kind of appreciate the new Echo skin. I do actually think it's quite neat looking. Neat. And of course, while Cavalry was gone, we see Splinter still being super aggressive, shoving right on top of that turret with no fear. Unfortunately, the camera never goes quite high enough to see exactly how much health it has. I wonder if I can zoom out a little bit, because that would be fantastic. And the answer is no. Very unfortunate. Unlucky Carry doing a really good job clearing out those wards, preventing the vision in those bushes. Oh, but he might be in trouble here. He is going to get knocked up by Arrow. Unlucky Carry taking a lot of damage. Forced to flash away from Hopeful's Talia. He does get the shockwave, but it is not going to be enough. So it's Supernova taking a nice firm lead. It's not super big, but it is 2 kills to nothing now. Smurf getting a little bit of poke him, but forced to dash away. Now Yenny's getting engaged up by Cresto. This is going to snare, going to land. Smurf is able to walk out of the Misfortune ultimate. And he's going to use the culling. Philly's just going to eat the entire culling, though, with no fear, but he is going to end up paying for it. But he also ends up getting Philly for free, and that is Hopeful getting picked up by Overrate while the little action was going on that bottom side. 1 for 1 on the bottom, and 1 for nothing in the middle. Still, thanks to Supernova in that bottom side, they were able to keep the score ahead a little bit in their favor. But unfortunately, they do have 2 deaths now instead of 0. Very disappointing for them. Ooh, excuse me. Splinter getting out of that Meganaught form, start to do some more long-range harass using those little boomerangs. And Unlucky Carry finding another pink ward. I wish there was a ward-killing stat. Wish there were more stats on the spectator screen in general, personally, but that is just me. The score doesn't really show it, but Unlucky Carry is really, really good at Orianna, is from my perspective. To be fair, I was never ranked higher than Diamond, and I'm not even that now. Not by far. But from what I can tell, he's pretty darn good at Orianna. Yenny engaging onto Smurf, but not able to catch it before he eats a tower shot. Due to him leaving the top lane with his ultimate, Reverie is behind by about a wave and a half, but you don't enter that top lane as a Shen versus a Narn and think you're going to do amazing. But for these circumstances, Killers, you find Arrow engaging onto Overrate, using the ultimate to do as much damage as he can. Unfortunately for Overrate, the shield was not able to come down fast enough, and he gets picked up by Hopeful with a long-range snipe with the threaded Earth. I think it's called threaded Earth, at least. Philly, once again, eating quite a bit of the culling, but while that was happening, Smurf was able to dodge the bubble. Yes, there will be a VOD of this. You will be able to find it on our Twitch channel for however long they archive videos. There is a dive going on the bottom side, where Smurf is gonna end up going down. He gets picked up by Yenny, and unfortunately, Yenny was not able to get shielded completely by Cavalry. No, that's right, the shield stays there, but Cavalry not able to complete his teleport. Ooh, he's actually going to Shadow Dash onto Splinter. Arrow is close by, but Cavalry is taking a ton of damage, and Splinter is able to pick up Cavalry and then leap away without a problem. Very nice play. Philly roaming up to try and pick up Unlucky Carry, but Unlucky Carry just turns on him and basically bursts him down very, very quickly. Very nice play. Now, where are we at? We did see Cresto and Overrate roam up to the mid lane, but unfortunately, there's really not a whole lot for them to pick up. Holy! Smurf forced to flash! Oh, wow! Jenny popping that Ghost Blade and able to do so much damage to Smurf. Smurf not quite expecting it. Tried to flash away and just gets chased down. Unfortunately, his heal was not quite up either. It's really close, but it's not going to be up in time, unfortunately, for him. And Yenny is going to slowly whittle away at that turret. So that's very, very unfortunate. Despite how strong Unlucky Carry's play has been, he is unfortunately only 1-2. And Hopeful is 3-1. Yenny getting caught out by Cresto, gets stunned up by Overrate, and they're going to be able to pick up Yenny super easy, maybe, yes. Overrate is going to be able to pop his ult to get away just fine, though he was ignited, so the heal was not all that much. Cavalry is used his teleport to come to that bottom lane. That makes it a 1-for-0, though. So nice, very nice pickup onto Yenny. Yenny, Rainy, same difference. Smurf is going to use the culling once again. Doesn't quite hit everyone he wants, but he does get some damage onto both Philly and Cavalry. And here comes Arrow from over the wall, trying to pop his ult onto somebody. He only gets Smurf, though, with it. Now, that's actually quite a bit still. Smurf has dropped down to about 60% health. Here comes Hopeful. He's able to use the nice little Talia combo to pick up Splinter. Cresto getting really low, but not quite going down. Still, though, that is a 1-for-0 so far, though both teams, best about everyone is here on the bottom side. Just about. I said bust about for some reason. That doesn't make any sense. And that is going to be the first turn of the game going over Supernova. So the game is still pretty even, but Supernova has a very slight lead currently. And that is going to be First Dragon also going over to Supernova. This looks like to be a Cloud Drake, but whoever said that movement speed wasn't useful. Philly, unfortunately, he went to go drop some vision, but unfortunately for him, Unlucky Carry was awaiting right there, able to use his ultimate and burst him down before he could do anything, because Philly does not have a summoner up as it currently stands. It's still about 60% cooldown currently. And while that's happening, we see Yenny is slowly pushing towards that top side, and has changed his mind. Both him and Cavalry are going to kind of roam into the river, and unknown of what they're going to try to do here. Maybe they wanted to get vision for a Rift Herald, but we did see that Cresto had showed up and forced them to reconsider that option. Seeing Smurf on that bottom side, he did some damage to the turret and looking at the back. So the turret's probably very, very low. As Cavalry showing back up his own turret to try and do some damage to these minions. And he's actually doing some damage to Splinter. Not much, but better than nothing. He went to ward, but Overrate was waiting in the wings. And that is going to be both Overrate and Splinter probably taking that top turret. Yep, it is extremely low. You're seeing Overrate working towards the Protobelt, and Splinter has already picked up a Frozen Mallet. Oh, here comes Philly to say hi. The wave, unfortunately, not able to connect with Unlucky Carry. Unlucky Carry trying to burst down Hopeful, but Hopeful hasn't picked up a Giant's Belt, so he's significantly more durable. There was the Cavalry's Shen ult to also make sure that he doesn't go down. Unlucky Carry is able to get away, though. He does not actually use his flash either. So he's in a really, really good spot. Other than, his health being super low. Overrate getting a little stun on the Yeni, but other than that, not a whole lot able to go around. He is forced to use his ultimate to escape. Nope, here is Splinter. He's Mega Nard up, but he's not really in position to use his ultimate. There is Arrow's long-range engage with the Elastic Slingshot. And Fiesta able to get a 3-man ult, but it actually doesn't stun anyone. He does end up going down to Hopeful. And of course, Hopeful also picked up Smurf. So super strong judgment on their part. I actually thought that was a little risky, but they were able to pick up 2 kills and didn't lose anyone. And they positioned themselves well enough that Splinter was not able to get a multi-man Gnarl, which of course is game-changing in how it can basically say, hey, you're now all stunned. Cavalry getting a beautiful taunt on that flash, using the Shadow Dash and then flashing into a target. Carry was not able to react fast enough and ended up going down. And of course, while that's happening, we do see Yeni on that bot side, pushing that wave up, trying to get some more CS. It'll be interesting to see what item he gets next, because I'm not super familiar with what Misfortunes buy. You see Cresto trying to kill that pink ward. Hopeful wants to try and stop him, maybe, but is not going to be able to. And he just drops another pink ward and says, alright, we'll just kill that ward. So now it'd be interesting to see what happens here. We see Supernova does have the super slight lead. It's about 3k. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. And Overrate is going to get caught out, unfortunately. He does use his ultimate to try and regain a little health, but then he flashes over the wall. Seeing Arrow is not afraid. He's just diving right on in there, doing a lot of damage. Unlucky Carry going to walk into the jungle to try and escape. And here comes Splinter to make sure they don't chase. So Overrate getting a little lucky there in terms of escaping, using all of his tools to get out of that mess. And that's also Yeni picking up a red buff for himself, so that's going to make him even more dangerous. He has the Berserker Greaves, he has a BF sword, so he's going to be doing so much damage per shot. And there is Cresto getting engaged on by Arrow. Arrow, no fear, but Hopeful putting himself in a terrible position with that ultimate. Super unfortunate. Well, we see Splinter and Cavalry kind of duking it out here. But Splinter's fighting in a mini-wave. He just Mega Nard out. On the bottom side, we see Overrate engaging onto Philly and Yeni, but unfortunately not able to get the stun out in time. And it is going to get picked up. And we didn't quite catch it, but we did see that Yeni picked up Smurf as well. On the top side, we actually see that Splinter lost that 1v1. He's super low now. To be fair, he was also fighting in minions. He does get Shadow Dashed on and picked up by Cavalry. Nice. Very, very nice by Cavalry. Not quite so nice by Splinter. Fortunately for Splinter, he doesn't quite have any magic resist yet. So the damage over time just slowly went over in favor of Cavalry. And while this is happening, see Cavalry is, of course, quite low himself. He pushed the wave up and has decided to roam a little bit. He's warded the dragon. Sorry, not the dragon. The Baron. I guess it's a really super nasty dragon, maybe. I don't know. A worm. No, that's not correct. That's dumb. Don't listen to me. But he is going to go ahead and back and pick up a Spectral Cowl. So he is working towards that Spirit Visage next, which is not unusual for a Shen. And that is going to be Supernova picking up another dragon. Here comes Arrow out of nowhere to make sure that he is there for the smite. He has that Spirit Visage, so he is quite safe against the magic damage of, yeah, pretty much everyone but Splinter and Smurf. And of course, Splinter does have some magic damage, but not a whole lot. It's very consistent at the very least, but no, not very bursty. He's mostly physical damage as it stands. Seeing Supernova using those red trinkets to make sure they try and get some vision control here. Splinter getting engaged a little bit, but is able to wander away. No, possible fight here? No. Splinter is going to get out just fine. He's going to use the elastic slingshot to jump over the wall and get away without any issues. But we're seeing Philly is getting engaged on by Overraid. Overraid is use his ult to move away, but Splinter with the super nice 4-man Gnar ultimate followed by Unlucky Carry's 3-man Shockwave, making it still a 2 for 2 though. Has Cavalry using the Shadow Dash combined with the Nami bubble, and they're able to pick up Unlucky Carry. That does make Smurf the last man standing. So 2 for 4 going in favor of Supernova. That looked very even at the start. Maybe a little in favor of Fiesta, but unfortunately it just didn't end up going the way they wanted. There really weren't enough people to follow up on the Gnar ultimate from Splinter. I imagine they were distracted by one of the more durable members of Supernova, but the camera wasn't quite in position for me to see, and I couldn't watch the map and talk about the fight at the same time, very unfortunately. And we're seeing the jungle is going to be cleared out a little bit by Fiesta. They need all the gold they can get at this point, since the lead is slowly going over in favor of Supernova. It's still within a completely doable range. It's like 5k difference right now, 6k difference. But that's still expanding as the game goes along. Excuse me, I need some more caffeine. That is going to be Supernova picking up the Rift Herald and using a red trinket to clear out some more vision. We're seeing Cavalry not even remotely afraid. He's going to dive right on into Splinter and do quite a bit of damage. He does not quite dodge the stun, though, and Splinter is going to leap away. And Cavalry using the dash to get one more auto in and proc that keystone. Well, that does put Cavalry a little bit like the man on top as it currently stands. But he is not going to play too dangerously. As soon as the minion wave gets up to that bottom turret, he does back out. But we do see, from our perspective, of course, we can see that Fiesta Esports is in the middle lane. And here comes Cavalry just dashing right over the wall to pick up 2 people on a taunt. Didn't quite see who it was, but lots of damage going on to Smurf, overrate. And yeah, that's basically where most of the damage went. A little bit more, there was a little bit more, but it wasn't too dangerous. And we are seeing that overrate is going to go ahead and back. They are pinged onto near Baron. Seeing that Fiesta does know what's happening, they are backing out. Splinter managing to dodge that Shadow Dash from Cavalry. There's Arrow trying to get an elastic slingshot. It was dodged, but his ultimate was not. He gets 3 people knocked up with it, though not all at the same time. That is going to be Cavalry getting picked up by basically the full team that makes up Fiesta. And it's also Arrow going down, but not really having a chance to talk about it. We see both Splinter and Cresta have also gone down. Oh, Smurf is in huge trouble. He gets caught by Hopeful using that ultimate to make sure that he keeps his distance. And now Yenny's in super trouble. He's got no health. That's easily within 1%. And I have no idea if he's going to get away. Yes, he's going to overrate. Does give up the chase. But Yenny is going to play it safe and walk all the way back to his turret. Hide in that little bush. So, a 2 for 2. That definitely could have gone significantly worse. That's a 2 for 3, isn't it? That's correct. It is at 2-3. 2-3, slightly in favor of... I actually don't remember now who all died because everybody's already respawned. Still, seeing Supernova still has an advantage overall just from the gold. And they are 9 kills ahead and have both dragons and 2 more turrets. Yenny laying in surprise wait. But he does have the assistance of Philly nearby. But Philly, they're not going to be able to catch up with Splinter. Splinter is going to play it super safe, push the wave up, and run away. That is Fiesta donating that blue buff to Unlucky Carry. Oriana is a bit of a mana hog, so it needs all the help she can get. Unlucky Carry's done a really good job throughout the entire match, but unfortunately not able to quite have as much impact as he likes here. He's doing a lot of damage, but not quite able to burst everyone or anyone to 100 as the way it looks currently. We're seeing both top laners getting more and more durable. There's a random Zoman onto Splinter, and Cavalry working on that is going to be the second tier mid turret going over to Supernova. And now Supernova is repositioning to head over to Dragon. Looks like another Cloud Drake. It is. So they're going to be moving super fast. And while that's happening, we're seeing Cavalry wailing away on that top turret, taking some turret hits, but he does not care too much. He's able to get it really easy, really safely. And while the mini wave pushes up, he is going to go ahead and take this opportunity to probably get that Zerat portal. Seeing both sides, trying to clear out some vision. Cristo able to dodge away from the Nami bubble. We're actually seeing Supernova make a super risky play and engage on Baron. And Fiesta's right there. Fiesta doesn't know they're actually on it right now. Now they do. And there's Hopeful getting engaged on by Unlucky Carry from the side. Now Arrow is diving onto the rest of Fiesta. He's trying to pick up Smurf. And there is Overrate diving into Supernova himself, but he does end up going down. He's not quite durable enough to do that, and basically was not able to survive the level of damage. That makes it a 1-for-0, though Arrow is super close to dead, and Hopeful wasn't much further behind. He did get caught a little bit by the Unlucky Carry Oriana ultimate. Excuse me. Think Hopeful just hasn't backed yet. He's just taking this opportunity to pick up creeps in the jungle. He's probably super close to the item he wants. Which that could be a lot of items. And he's going to pick up Death Cap, so he is going to be hitting super hard. That's going to give him a lot of AP. We're actually seeing that Unlucky Carry opted for a slightly different route, and instead of picking up a Rylai's, he's gone for the Zanyas. Because I don't think I've seen a whole lot of Rylai's on Oriana's before, to be fair. But that is going to give him, the stasis, so it's always useful. But Hopeful is just really far ahead. I don't really think I've noticed Hopeful a whole ton, but he's had really good plays overall, and has managed to pick up a lot of kills. Of course, Yenny has picked up a ton of kills. He's 9-3 now. Has that Duskblade and has the Black Cleaver. And Overrate gets shredded. He gets melted super hard and is forced to use his ultimate to go back to his previous location and was able to survive that little surprise attack. Surprise, surprise, Talia's here. And Hopeful's going to go ahead and use his wall to block off that mid lane. And that is going to give them time to reposition, walk around, and pick up those mid lane minions and keep the middle turret safe. Now this time, Supernova once again starting that Baron, and this time it's still unknown. There are 0 pings coming out of Fiesta, though we do see Cresto slowly working his way over there. And Unlucky Carry not far behind. So they do know what's going on now, but it's still really low. Philly eating a bit of that culling and is getting now picked up by Baron. Splinter flash. No, he just deleted it. He didn't flash in. Was able to pick up Philly, and now we're seeing Arrow is gonna die before he can reform. That is another member of Supernova going down. That's Yenny not able to survive, and that is also going to be Cavalry dying. So that is 4 for 1. And it looks like Fiesta definitely not out of the fight just yet. They're able to get an almost ace, not quite, and it looks like they're going to be able to get this Baron just fine. Though they are a little on the low end. Supernova unfortunately kind of left Philly inside the pit with Baron, and he ate several Baron hits and a full culling almost, and was able to do an enormous amount of damage. Super risky Baron, unfortunately. They were trying to sneak it a little bit, and then once they were discovered, they didn't abandon it. So very unfortunate for them. They still have the lead in terms of gold, but they do not have Baron now. We already see the next dragon is going to be up in a minute and a half, and I'm curious to see which dragon it is next. Excuse me, I'm going to get a bit of caffeine real quick while there's a bit of a lull in the action. There we go. Where are we at now? Item-wise, Splinter has picked up his Black Cleaver, working on another armor item. Cavalry has picked up his Rot Portal, also working on another armor item. Could be a lot of things since it is a chain vest. Seeing Overrate has finished the Protobelt, has finished the Iceborne Gauntlet, working on some Magic Resist, which could be... Let's see, there's only 2 items to build at the Spectral Cowl, right? Which is going to be Banshee's Veil and Spirit Wizard. So, both of those items, not terrible. His cooler reduction is useful. And I think his ultimate does count towards Spirit Wizard. It's pretty positive. Seeing Hopeful trying to pick up Overrate in the little Talia combo, but Overrate is a little more durable now that he has that Spectral Cowl. Where are we at now? That is Dragon respawning. It is an Infernal Drake this time, so that is going to be useful for both teams. You cannot go wrong with more AP and AD. And it is currently 5v4 with Cavalry in the top side pushing down that tier 2 turret. Seeing a little engage from Overrate, he's able to pick up Arrow, but Arrow is super durable. There's the Nami wave. Seeing Splinter dive on in, he's able to get a 2-man ultimate. Unfortunately, Yenny's in huge trouble. He gets bursted down. Seeing Arrow is super low now. And that's also going to be Smurf and Cresto going down. Overrate trying to escape through the top side jungle. Or sorry, not the top side jungle. The jungle going through the opposite side of the map for him. And that is going to be... That's going to be Carry being picked up as well. So there's a super aggressive engage by Fiesta, but unfortunately, they're only able to pick up Yenny. The rest of Supernova is able to survive. And they're going to be at no risk of taking this dragon. That's going to be all 4 dragons going to them. It looked like it was going super well at first. But unfortunately, Yenny, while he is super dangerous, is not the only threat. Hopeful also does need to go down in order for them to be able to successfully win a fight. It might arguably be more dangerous. I don't know. It's hard to say. Because speaking of danger, he has picked up a Void Staff. And then, of course, while that fight was going on, Cavalry did leave a nice little drop portal in that top side to help push the wave in. Yenny, not liking getting engaged on like that, has already picked up Hex Drinker. It did pop in that fight, and he is working on a Maw. This is, of course, going to give him some more armor penetration. So he has tons of armor penetration. He's going to be hitting really hard on anyone who doesn't have any armor. We're actually seeing Philly has picked up... Oh man, I cannot remember the name of the support item of the challenge. There's another pause, unfortunately. I'm going to go and take this opportunity to cheat and see what the name of the item is. Mikhail's Crucible, that's right. I know what it does, of course. It's basically a cleanse that you can use on anybody on your team, of course. And we're actually seeing Cavalry's next armor item is a Guardian Angel, which is a very interesting choice. It's not a terrible item, it's just something we don't see a whole lot of. And then he's working on another Kindle Gem item, so that could be Banshee's Veil, could be Warmogs, could be a number of things. The Locket is not likely, given that Philly already has the Locket. And we're seeing Arrow also working on what looks to be a Guardian Angel. So he is going to be coming back twice, probably. I don't think we've seen him survive being popped, though. Pretty certain he hasn't had a chance to reform yet. He's been destroyed every single time. But of course, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. Most characters who have revives are at risk of dying before they can complete that revive. I think the only one who's invulnerable is... Yeah, that's Aatrox. He's the only character who's in... Unless you count Guardian Angel, which of course is being an item being bought, which is not quite the same thing as a passive on a character. Seeing Supernova, they're gathered up in this mid lane, wanting to take some objectives here, and wanting to fight. We're seeing Splinter on the bottom side trying to push that wave out, and Cavalry is on the top side trying to push the wave in. Yenny popped his Ghostblade. I guess they wanted to try and find somebody. That was beautiful! They forced Smurf's flash, and he's flashed right where Arrow was going to land. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Overrate doing a lot of damage, though. He uses his ultimate to manage to do quite a bit of damage to 3 members of Supernova. Now, Arrow is unfortunately in a terrible position, is not going to be able to get away. But here comes the teleport from Cavalry, maybe? No, he gets stunned. So that I'm assuming it was by Overrate. And it stops Cavalry's teleport, and unfortunately, because that arrow is going to go down. But Cavalry dashing over the wall. But unfortunately, there's not a whole lot he can do here. He's not going to be able to catch up with that. Unlucky Carry able to do damage to Yenny before Yenny can pick him up. Now Cavalry is getting snared up. And he is going to try and fight it out here, but... Ooh, there's the shockwave, but it does not land on anyone. Cavalry is doing his best to try and do some damage here. But unfortunately, he is going to end up going down. There's the Guardian Angel popped. Bit of a sloppy fight, though. That was a really nice catch onto Smurf. But now Smurf has had plenty of time. He's able to respawn. Unlucky Carry is going to be able to pick up Cavalry. And there is Philly getting snared up by Cresto. Philly not quite able to land the wave onto Cresto. There is Smurf going to use the calling to burst through the wave and finish off Philly. So that is Supernova coming out not on top there. That was a super extended fight. They had enough time for Smurf to respawn and show back up. And this is still game 1, by the way. Sorry about that, my play-by-play is a little sloppy. I'm not quite used to talking that much. Usually Octavian handles all of that. And where are we at now? We see that Arrow has finished a Thornmail, which is effective against 3 members. Overrate, it does add an auto attack quite a bit, and of course Splinter auto attacks a lot as well. Baron is going to be up in 3 seconds. And we're seeing Cavalry is going to push on that bottom side. We're seeing, it looks like he's left his drop portal in the top side. I think that's what the drop portal icon looks like. And seeing the dots leading it, that is definitely a drop portal. Though it looks like it just died. Yes, he can see it's active in his inventory again. Seeing Yenny want to be really aggressive here, wanting to try and get a pick. Seeing that he is able to do tons of damage. He has a Last Whisper now, so that's going to make him super effective against Overrate now. Overrate having... Actually, Overrate doesn't have a lot of armor. He only has the Iceborne Gauntlet. And while Cavalry is in the bottom side, we're seeing Supernova is trying to start Baron again. There is a ping on it. Fiesta knows it's happening. Here comes Fiesta. They're able to land another stun onto Arrow. But unfortunately, Supernova is forced out of the Baron pit, and Overraid is trying to get it back, but Arrow steals it. Brilliant play, but Arrow is super low, is forced to flash, and he tries to get away. He used the last excellent shot, but it looked like an auto attack did manage to follow him. The Thunderlord procced and was able to finish him off. Still though, Supernova being really, really proactive with their plays here, and they were able to pick up Baron, though maybe a little bit of an accident there. That's probably all they need, though. We're actually seeing that Fiesta has picked up a Swap Portal of his own and is using it to keep that bottom side at bay. We're seeing another dragon in 17 seconds. It looks like it's going to be Elder Dragon this time. That's going to be super, super strong on the side of Supernova because they have all 4 dragons this game. And with 4 dragons and a Baron, that is going to make Supernova unstoppable. They will probably be able to finish the game off the back of those. So Fiesta knows that they have to stop this. The dragon is alive. It is active. Looks like all 5 members of Supernova are on that bottom side. They're looking for a pick. And it looks like Cavalry is going to roam to the top side. I think Supernova trying to be a little sneaky, maybe not. They're just going to, instead of doing Dragon, they're going to use this opportunity to try and push on that bottom side while Cavalry is in the top lane. Cavalry not quite landing that Shadow Dash, but is now Supernar versus Shen. Splinter's actually being really careful here. He does not actually want to fight Cavalry because Meganar is not able to beat a Shen, actually, as it turns out. And we're seeing Supernova. There they are. They are being really aggressive here. How long does that Baron have? I can't quite tell. The only one who doesn't have it is Arrow, because Arrow did end up going down there to an auto attack. There's Cavalry is able to find that the Nar's Rot Portal and take it down. There's his own. You can see his Rot Portal is in that top lane, pushing back. And now we're seeing Supernova is engaging on the Elder Dragon. They're seeing Supernova. They kind of were wanting to do Dragon, but then they were spotted out, and they are playing it super safe. They're going to go ahead and take this opportunity to back. Seeing Splinter is going to go ahead and clear out that pink ward. Seeing Unlucky Carrier trying to pick up that blue buff. He does get it. See, Cavalry is actually really far up here. This is going to leave Dragon open. Fiesta's going to have to respond to one or the other. We're seeing, actually, Splinter is heading towards that top side. He's able to get there in time. Cavalry, not knowing the rest of Fiesta's at, pulls back a little bit and looks for some wards, it looks like. He does get pinged out. They do know where he's at. Arrow does engage on the Elder Dragon. Jeez, that dragon's big. It barely fits in the pit. It doesn't. The wings are clearly going through the walls. This is the fight that could end the game. Cavalry's in huge trouble. He gets caught out by 3 members, but he is super durable. He uses the flash to get over the wall. And now Splinter's in a really bad spot. He gets caught out by Yenny. And there's Overrate. He gauged in, but he gets Shadow Dashed on, and he uses his ult to escape. Now it's a Yenny versus Splinter. Splinter deciding to disengage. No deaths there. We saw some flashes, specifically from Cavalry and Splinter. And we saw Overrate using his ultimate to try and escape. I should say. He did escape. And now we're seeing Supernova being a little more courageous and confident in taking this Elder Dragon, since they do know that Echo Ultimate is... It was down, but he actually has an enormous amount of cooldown reduction and is already back up. There's Cavalry being really aggressive, pushing right into the enemy team. There's Splinter diving in, but unfortunately he is going to go down. His ultimate didn't catch anyone. Hopeful is going to get picked up by Smurf, though. And there's Arrow diving on in. We saw Unlucky Carry using the Zanias and is able to flash out of that mess. And Overraid is now in trouble, and he is going to get picked up by Yenny. There's the Guardian Angel from Smurf, and he is going to get picked up by Yenny as well. And now Cavalry trying to chase down Unlucky Carry. Unlucky Carry able to pop that Guardian Angel. But unlucky for Unlucky Carry is that the rest of Supernova not going for Dragon. They're wanting this inhibitor turret. And Cavalry is so wanting Unlucky Carry here. He wants revenge for earlier. And Unlucky Carry, I'm not sure he's going to get away. He has a lot of cooldown reduction, but he is almost out of mana. Unlucky Carry is trying his best here. And Cavalry popping that draw portal in that top side to try and slow down that huge push. Now, we're actually seeing Supernova's trying to finish here. And by try, I mean absolutely finish. They're able to pick it up. The fight to end them all. So that is first game going to Supernova. Very, very nice game. It was super even for most of the match. But unfortunately, Fiesta not quite able to keep up with Supernova's macro play. We'll have to see if they can do better in the second round. I am super excited. I don't know about you guys. I can turn on some music while I get back into the game. There we go. Hold on, I need to find the bracket and find the tournament code. That is correct. Nice. Alrighty, so that is 1-0. This is a best of 3. Supernova has the first win. Supernova is now moving over to the blue side, and Fiesta, of course, is moving over to the red side. I need to make sure I change the tags. Fiesta, FSTA, got it. We're going to take a little breather and let the teams get back, and somebody might need to go to the bathroom, like me. So I'll be back shortly, guys. Stick around.
If it's silent in dismay, it won't break this feeling down. If I conquer this my way, I'd devour, I'd surround. If it hurts you just a little, then it heals you when it's done. Disappointment is the anchor, resolution is the sun. If it's silent in dismay, it won't break this feeling down. If I conquer this my way, I'd devour, I'd surround. If it hurts you just a little, then it heals you when it's done. Disappointment is the anchor, resolution is the sun.
And we're back. This is the second round, possibly the last round of the finals. Let's see if Fiesta can make a recovery from that last match. And right off the bat, we're seeing the bans coming out really quickly. Seeing Nidalee and Graves, both targeted over 8, I imagine. And there are 2 respect bans going over to Arrow and Cavalry. That is both taking their Zac and their Shen away. And a Victor ban, which I imagine is targeted at Unlucky Carry, even though he has played Orianna every match. I don't recall the details of the previous matches pick orders. I don't know if Orianna is only a second pick or not, but I don't know. If it is only his second pick, then he is quite good at Orianna as well. And that is going to be a Rek'Sai ban, probably targeted at Arrow. That does lock out another top-tier jungler. It'll be interesting to see what Arrow plays in this case. No, it is first pick for Cavalry. What are you going to pick there, buddy? That is... You're both having to change it up. What were the bans in the last match? What does that leave open that was banned before? 'Cause I'm actually really curious now. I'm going to cheat and look at Battlefly, because it records those. Very useful. I think. I'm not sure if it records for best of 3. Why, yes it does. It was Fiora, Yasuo, and Kha'Zix were all banned. So all 3 bans have been changed up from Fiesta. And picks are actually coming out pretty quickly. Cavalry is actually stealing away Echo from Overrate. And that is going to be Splinter locking in Braum and Overrate locking in Elise. So it's going to be an Elise jungle. And Arrow and Hopeful are locking in Soraka and Misfortune. That is going to be Yenny returning on the Misfortune. And it looks like Philly, instead of Nami, is going to be playing Soraka this time around. So that is changing up the bottom line a little bit. A little less damage for more heals. And utility's probably still in favor of Nami. So just heals. Lots of heals. Now, what is Fiesta going to do here? They have their support and their jungler locked in. Unless that's something silly like a top Braum, which just isn't likely. And it is going to be Smurf making a return on to the Lucian. That's actually a really strong bottom lane combo. We don't see as much Braum as we used to. We still see him occasionally here and there, but he does combo up quite well with Lucia. I just said Lucio. Almost. So Lucian. That is going to be Splinter making a return onto Olaf. He had a pretty decent game onto Gnar, but clearly he prefers Olaf here. Though we have not seen the top laner yet for Supernova, because that Cavalry could be the Echo could go anywhere. It doesn't necessarily need to be going top. We're seeing Philly hover on Nocturne, and while I would be super excited to see a Nocturne in game, I just do not think that is likely. I'd be more excited to see somebody like Aatrox played, but Aatrox is just in a super weak spot, so that's too bad for me. I actually would probably play again a lot if Aatrox was buffed. Though, to be fair, his kit is not very buff-friendly. We're seeing Orianna being hovered. That could take away Orianna from Unlucky Carry. And they're going to do it. They're actually going to take away that option from Unlucky Carry. He's going to be forced to play something else. And speaking of things, that is going to be Gragas most likely going to be being played by Arrow in the jungle. And it looks like Unlucky Carry is going to replace the Orianna with possibly Azir. We actually have not seen Azir a whole lot recently, because he got, for like 3 or 4 patches in a row, got hit by minor nerfs over and over again. His DPS is still pretty high in the late game, but he's just been kind of smacked over the face a whole lot, and it makes him not quite as desirable to play as he used to be. Of course, they have not locked in. They still have 20 seconds to decide if that is exactly what Unlucky Carry wants to play. I'm actually really kind of curious to see what else he plays besides Orianna. So I'm actually going to cheat and use na.opd.gg. Unlucky Carry. And we had a bit of a disconnect possibly. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. We'll be back shortly, though. They have rejoined the lobby, and they're going to go through the picks and bans the same. He plays everything, they say. That could very well be. And looking at the stats, he plays everything is indeed accurate. You're not kidding. He does play everything. Jesus. MF was Ezreal. Okay. So Misfortune is Ezreal this time around. He's not going to be... Oh, they banned Aatrox. My poor Aatrox. So that is likely going to be Unlucky Carry playing Ahri instead of the Azir, because they, looking at the bans there, they skipped over Ahri. They went Aatrox, Akali, Alistar. Now the bans are still technically the same from the previous game. They're going through the same picks as they were, so they're just picking straight into their respective slots. So that is really Yenny on the Ezreal instead of the Misfortune. So that is a bit of a change. Well, significantly more poke-oriented, bursty kind of style, run away more mobility. And it's going to be interesting to see how they play against a Braum Lucian lane, because that is super dangerous for a Soraka. If Soraka gets stunned up, not going to be able to survive at that level of burst. And it's going to be interesting to see how well Unlucky Carry does on Orianna, or not on, when he's not playing Orianna, I should say, because it has been stolen away by Hopeful. And now, of course, that everybody is locked in and into their respective spots, to start off with our little list of the picks, we have Cavalry playing Echo, facing off against Fiesta, Splinter's Olaf. Seeing that Splinter is taking Ghost instead of Flash, which is reasonable on an Olaf, because of course when he's in Ragnarok he wants to be able to move as fast as possible during that duration of not being able to be CC'd. In the jungle we have Arrow this time playing the Gragas, because Zac has been banned out. And, of course, he's facing off against Overrate's Elise. Overrate has actually played a few different champions here. He played Graves in our first match when they were facing off against NCSU Prime. And then for this first game of the finals, he played Echo, but Echo is stolen away by Cavalry. And now he's playing Elise. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays in that. And, of course, in the mid lane, we have Hopeful on Orianna facing off against Unlucky Carry's Ahri. Unlucky Carry, showing that he's quite good at Orianna, but unfortunately it was stolen away by Hopeful. So it'll be interesting to see how that's played. I don't think I've ever seen Hopeful play Orianna, so that'll be interesting to see him play that. And last, but certainly not least, in the bottom lane we have Yenny playing Ezreal, partnering up with Philly on the Soraka. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen Philly play Soraka before. I'm not saying he hasn't played, but just here at Reverie, I don't think I've ever seen him play Soraka in the semifinals or finals before, so that'll be interesting. And in the bottom lane, we have Smurf and Cresto playing Lucian and Braum. That's, of course, this very standard combo back when... always, basically. Never since Lucian came out. Actually, who came first? Was it Lucian or Braum? I cannot remember who was made first. I want to say Braum's the newer character, but I'm not sure. Surely he's the newer character. I'm going to look it up while we go to a small commercial break. We'll be back shortly, guys. Don't go anywhere. And we're back into a pause. Wouldn't be a day here at Reverie if we did not have pauses throughout the day. Makes sense. This is a online tournament, so there are going to be little gimmicks and hiccups like this. At least Twitch isn't shutting down like it did before. Yeah, I checked the Reddit right at that moment, and that's how I knew that basically it wasn't just me. And then I went to Twitch's main page, and there were 2,000 people watching League, 2,000 people watching Overwatch, when usually there's like 13 or 14,000 watching Overwatch, and then 50,000 plus watching League. So it's interesting to see that. And there is the pause. We are back in. Though, to be fair, the game had just started, so there's no issues there. And I just ran out of my drink. Alrighty, and they're off. Seeing Supernova, they're looking to do their standard line of scrimmage, whereas Fiesta is gathering up. I'm not sure if they're looking to counter-invade or do an invade themselves. They're much stronger at invading, but they do get spotted out by Philly. There are 2 flashes. Both supports have flashed. Nice reaction by Philly to avoid getting slowed up there, because that would have put him at danger of dying. As everybody knows, Soraka has not much in the way of mobility. There's some, if somebody is injured, that she can walk towards, but... And by somebody, I mean an ally. And during that little fiasco, we did see a ward getting dropped in that bottom side jungle. Nice little reaction by Splinter to make sure that they do at least get something out of their invasion. But either way, that does leave the bottom side open to ganks. That is both supports with no flash. And we are seeing that Cresto is picking up Ignite instead of Exhaust to help fight against the Soraka heals. It's going to be interesting to see how Cavalry plays an Echo into an Olaf, because that's one of those things where I think in a short trade, basically Olaf is usually going to come out ahead. And of course, Ragnarok makes Echo's super long stun not as useful during it after level 6. And Cresto getting a little bit of poke there, nothing too serious. He is a Braum, so he is pretty beefy. Seeing Unlucky Carry and Hopeful trading it out. Both Thunderlords have been procced. Cresta being super aggressive, staying in that bush. He's able to get a winner's bite on the Philly, but he is forced to back off. Well, we're seeing Cavalry and Splinter kind of trade blows there. And both axes landing onto Cavalry, but Cavalry looking to get that to proc. He gets it. And both still pretty even in that top side. The Smurf and Cresto are getting punished a little bit. Because of Cresto is, of course, a melee character, he is not able to poke quite as efficiently. And whereas Azrael is super slippery, has that consistent poke. And, you know, Soraka has that AoE... I want to say it's her Q, because it... Is it still called Starcall or Starfall? I know it slows and does a heal, but... There's Philly getting winners bited, as Philly is going to get stunned, but he does not have flash to get away. As First Blood getting picked up by Cresto and Fiesta Esports. There was no vision in that tri-bush, so that was super easy for them to come in and pick up Philly. They were planning that from the start, it looks like. And Fiesta forced to ghost, but he does get picked up by Cavalry. He's not able to win trades against an Echo, as it turns out, so I guess I was wrong there. There's Hopeful getting charmed up, but he tries to shield, and they're looking to trade, but here's Overrate. He's forcing a flash from Hopeful. Unfortunately, the Cocoon not quite able to land onto Hopeful. Hopeful does still have Barrier, so maybe he would have survived, but still, forcing a flash, really, really good. And there's Splinter getting stunned up. Unfortunately, Cavalry doesn't have a whole lot of mana right now, and he's used all of his Corrupting Potion charges. And Smurf, they are going to stun Philly. Philly getting healed. He's trying to get away. Here comes Arrow from the side, and they are able to pick up Smurf. And now Cresto's in trouble. And he is not going to be able to get away. That is a double kill going over Diene. That is Supernova taking control. Once again, there were no wards. So that was super, super easy for Arrow to come in from the side. And it was actually also really risky by Philly. He was so low. He did get stunned there. But Yenny was able to use the heal to help keep him alive. How is the rest of the map going? Seeing Cavalry is returning to that top lane. He is a little behind the CS, but we are seeing that the wave, he just hasn't gotten this full wave yet. He's probably going to catch back up just fine once the wave pushes a little more towards him. Or, you know, unless he misses the creep. That doesn't help, unfortunately. Things are really slow right now. We're seeing overrate. Was in the topside jungle there for blue. Didn't get a chance to drop a ward, though, however. He probably did get spotted out by Arrow, I imagine. And we're seeing Cavalry actually roaming down into the river a little bit. Is he trying to pick up Scarab? I can't quite tell. And bot side, Smurf taking a little poke there, trying to clear out that pink ward. And by try, I mean do. They do pick up the pink ward. There's still not much in terms of vision in the river and that tri-bush there, so that still leaves the bot side pretty vulnerable to ganks. There is a ward from Fiesta going down into the tri-bush finally. So now they're not as vulnerable to ganks. There is Unlucky Carry getting a charm onto Hopeful, but he does dodge the body slam using that Ahri ultimate. And now Cavalry's in trouble. He does not have level 6 yet, so he's not going to be able to get away. And he's getting chased down by Overrate. He's actually really aggressive. He does a lot of damage to Overrate. Splendor not quite being aggressive enough there, does not want to chase. Just wants to get his creeps in his farm. And there's a ping gone on Overrate. They do know he is backing. And is Overrate picking up his smite item. The challenging smite. Wanted to make sure he can win trades and duels. And while that's happening, we see Arrow is actually invading the bottom side jungle and is stealing the camps. That's a ward down, so they have vision control on that side of the jungle. Oh. Overrate does know where Arrow is at, but Arrow is going to use the barrel to slow up Overrate. Get away just fine now. Hopeful getting charged up again, using the barrier to get away from the ignite. Unlucky Carry being one auto attack away from going down. There's Philly landing those Qs, healing up a little bit. Yenny doing his best to try and do some damage here. Smurf trying to focus down Philly. There's the ignite onto Philly, but Philly is going to be able to get away. There's the heal. Super aggressive play by Cresta, but unfortunately, they're not going to be able to pick it up. If he had landed the Winter's Bite, he probably would have killed Philly. But unfortunately, he was a little high on the shot, and it went over him. Nope, there's Arrow and Overrate getting ready to go at it. There's the challenging smite onto Arrow. I don't know if Arrow can win, considering his low mana and health. He is wisely going to decide it's a better idea to back out. And we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but Cavalry did use his teleport to go to bottom side. They're going to pick up this bottom turret. Of course, we can see that Splinter is working away at that top turret. And the blue buff for Supernova is going to get stolen away. So Fiesta making sure they don't come out too far behind here. And that is my headset beeping because the battery is apparently dying. Let me plug that in real quick. There we go. See, Fiesta's still trying to kill that turret, but it is just under, well, it looks like about 30 or 40% health. There is the attack speed boost. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to get that turret down before we see that Cavalry has returned to lane. And Cresto getting caught out a little bit, trying to do some warding, but there is Smurf able to make sure he gets over the wall. A little explosive cask trying to prevent them from getting away, but there's a full calling onto Arrow. Arrow's in a lot of trouble. He does get picked up by Unlucky Carry. Now Yenny's in trouble. He's not going to be able to get away. He gets stunned up by the Winter's Bite. And now Philly is getting chased down by Unlucky Carry. But unfortunately, no more charges from Unlucky Carry, so he's not able to catch up. And that puts him in position for a possible dragon, but it looks like Kresto's going to go ahead and back. And we get a chance to talk about it, but Splinter tried to get away from Unlucky Carry. Unlucky Carry was able to catch up and pick him up in that top side, seeing that both Ghost and Flash were burned there. And of course, in the bottom side, we see Overrate and Smurf trying to whittle down this this bottom turret. And it looks like they're going to be able to get it. So that'll even out the things on bottom side. There's the Ezreal ultimate trying to slow things up, but unfortunately, too big a wave and not enough damage. You see Splinter and Overrate still, or Splinter and Cavalry still going at it, but it looks like Cavalry is still coming ahead. And it also looks like Cavalry is going for a more hybrid route with the Phage, so could see a Trinity Force, I imagine. Makes more sense than, say, Black Cleaver. I'm actually seeing Cavalry as being a very aggressive and has warded it with a pink ward on that topside jungle from red side. He's risking his turn a little bit, but here comes the stun onto Splinter, and now Cavalry is doing a lot of damage. There's the Reckless Swings, and there's the Ragnarok from Splinter. Probably going to go in. Oh, it's really close, but it is going to go over to Cavalry. So poor Splinter, not quite able to make sure that he can pick up that kill there. He was a little, what's the thing I'm looking for? Undecisive on how he wanted to go in there. So he backed off a little bit, but unfortunately, after Echo charges, uses a little roll, he can then dash to a target. So of course that was able to let him get on top of Splinter before he could attack again. There's the Sheen, so yes, that is going to be definitely a Trinity Force going on to Echo. Not too surprising. I actually think Cavalry is actually really far ahead. He's behind in CS because he's been away from lane so much, but he is 4-0. And that is Splinter actually super far behind. He's ahead in CS, and he does have that turret, but he wants that Black Cleaver, but he's decided to go ahead and pick up a Null Magic Mantle. But there's Kresto getting dived on by Arrow. There's the Explosive Cask. Hopeful actually barely... Actually, no, he wanted to Shockwave, but he Shockwaved on top of himself, and I was a little confused on exactly what happened there. Okay, so we're seeing our calling out of Smurf, but unfortunately it's not going to be able to do too much. Cavalry was taking the turret a little bit. And there is the Aria ultimate. He still has one charge left. There it goes. He lands the charm onto Yenny. Hopeful's about half health, and they're trying to disengage here. There is the Echo. Echo Q is able to slow up Overrate, so he's not able to chase. And here is Philly able to basically help heal people up. Cavalry throwing out that stun. Unfortunately, no one was around to make sure they get stunned up, but Unlucky Carry getting dived on a little bit. Killer realizing he's not going to be able to catch up and has decided to run away, using his ultimate to dive out, but he gets stunned up by the Winter's Bite and does end up going down to Smurf. With the help of Splinter, of course. Splinter may be behind, but he's still an Olaf, and Olaf can do a lot of damage to somebody who is not running away from him. Seeing Hopeful and Philly trying to do some poke here. The turret is super low now, but there's a flash engage by Arrow. Unfortunately, Arrow is really squishy. It's bursted down. A little bit of overly aggressive play there. Now, Yenny is also going to get picked up. We're seeing that Fiesta is really low in health, but there are still 5 of them. And there really wasn't a whole lot of backup for Arrow. So that's going to be them picking up a turret. That actually puts Fiesta ahead in gold now, because they have 2 turrets to... actually, no, they have 3 turrets to Supernova's 2. Well, it's too early to call who's going to win here. Now, Overrate is getting engaged on my Cavalry. Cavalry does land the stun. Now, Overrate is not going to be able to go away. He lands the Cocoon, but I don't think... unless the Winter Bite from Kresto shows up. But that was enough to force Cavalry's flash. So they're able to at least make sure that Overrate's death was not entirely in vain. And we're seeing that Arrow is going to make sure that this wave doesn't push up too much further. Using the exploding... sorry, not the exploding cask, but the body slam to go over the wall after smiting the Gromp. Actually, seeing Splinter instead of finishing the Black Cleaver has opted to make sure he grabs Merc Treads. Not the worst decision in the world. And Cavalry has opted for Ionian Boot, so we're getting that CDR. We saw it in the previous match that a 40% CDR Echo can have his ultimate up really quickly. And Splinter and Fiesta are kind of going at it a little bit. I keep saying Fiesta, but obviously just a clan tag and not a... Yenny, overestimating himself, tries to go over the wall to do some damage to Smurf, but he doesn't hit anything, and Smurf just dives right on into him and murders him outright. He had the Ghost Blade active, and was able to pick him up super quickly. A little bit of a minor error from Yenny. And with that, things have slowed down. There's a little bit of an ambush, possibly, from Supernova. Cresto eating a lot of damage, but Cresto with a nice block onto that Shockwave. It still CC'd him a little bit, but he did block the damage at the very least. Now Arrow's led me a little trouble. Here comes Cavalry from the side. Arrow eating that REQ. And it looks like Fiesta is going to disengage just fine. Where are we at now? That actually ended up being a whole lot of nothing, that fight, unfortunately. And now we're seeing that both top laners have finished their first major item. Of course, that being a Trinity Force and a Black Cleaver. And both junglers now working on what looks to be some kind of tanking item for Arrow's Gragas and a Proto Belt for Overrate's Elise. And speaking of Overrate, the rest of Fiesta and him are working on Rift Herald. So it'll be the first Rift Herald we've seen in the night. Unfortunately, Rift Herald here does not get a whole lot of focus. He gets left alone a lot and eventually says, I'm going home, and leaves and goes back to the Rift. And that is going to be a Rift Herald buff going over to Splinter, which is reasonable. Splinter, of course, not having the easiest time in that top lane. And during that, we're actually seeing that Supernova is heading towards Dragon. They're actually going to steal away that blue buff for Hopeful while they take Dragon. That'll be the second Dragon of the game going over to them if they can secure it. We're seeing how far Fiesta is behind there. They pinged a lot onto that blue buff, but it is already gone, obviously. And we're seeing Supernova rotating to that bottom side. They want to push that wave up. It looks like they want to push the bottom side. They're a 4-man right now, and there's a 1-on-1 in the top line between Cavalry and Splinter. Splinter disengages. He's not interested in duking it out here. He was able to dodge the stunts. So he's not too worried there. Unlucky Carry sitting on that side there, looking to maybe get a charm. He does get a nice bit of damage onto Arrow, but Arrow is going to get healed up by Philly. Seeing Cresto being really aggressive, pushing forward, uses the shield to back out without taking too much damage. And that is Cavalry picking up that top turret, evening the turret score out. And actually, that turret makes the game based just about completely even in terms of gold. They're a little bit ahead on the side of Supernova, but not a significant amount, being just 200 or 300. We're seeing Supernova disengaging from that bottom side. They're being really wary of the side of Fiesta. So things aren't too different. The game was about even at this point in the last game, up until one of the dragon fights where Supernova was able to take a nice little win, able to snowball a win off. A little bit of vision control, but nothing too unusual. Fiesta might be a little lost here, possibly, not entirely sure. They're being really defensive, making sure that Supernova doesn't take any more advantages than they have, but they're not being exactly super proactive here. Now, to be fair, Splinter is just behind Cavalry in terms of gold. Though now that he has a Spectral Cowl, maybe he'll be a bit stronger at dueling Cavalry. Though to be fair, Cavalry is also building physical damage since he is using Trinity Force. So we'll have to see if Splinter's Olaf can deal with that hybrid damage. There is the Glacial Shroud from Arrow. So he does have some armor now. And of course the Glacial Shroud can build into both Iceborne Gauntlet and Frozen Heart. which are both items we've seen on Gragas in the past. Seeing a ping on the Smurf on the bottom side, so it is known where he is at, and Cavalery is actually in position to maybe pick him up here. We'll have to see. He is super dangerous now. He is 5-1. Our Smurf does notice they're going to fight it out. Cavalery eats a lot of that calling, but is not enough. He's able to easily stick to Smurf there and pick him up without any problems. It did eat Cavalery's flash to make sure he got into that fight. And in the top side, we saw Splinter use Ragnarok and Ghost to run away. He was not interested in trying to fight it out there at all. Well, Supernova making sure the Baron was not being done. They were able to clear up the vision there. And we're seeing them wanting to try and push towards the mid lane. But Fiesta is being really aggressive here and making sure that they can't get to the turret. And we're seeing a teleport from Cavalery. He's going to flank them probably. And it's a 4v5 without Smurf there. There's Cresto getting stunned up. There's the Shockwave. Cresto forced to flash and dash away. Cavalery super going down. He is going to get picked up by Carrie's Q. Now Unlucky Carrie is running away as fast as he can. And now that Fiesta is here. Sorry, not Fiesta. Smurf is there. And that is going to be Supernova going 3-0. Unfortunately, the Shockwave from Noful only hit one. It only hit Cresto, and Cresto was still able to flash out. And that is going to be Fiesta taking up the lead here and working on Baron. It's likely known that they're doing it. I don't think I've seen any pings that direction. There it is. There's the ping. But unfortunately, I don't think Arrow is going to be able to get in there and stop this. They want Cresto. They do pick up Cresto. Maybe he can steal it? No. He gets stunned up by the cocoon, so he's not able to get close enough to the Baron. And there's the culling from Smurf to make sure that nobody is chasing. There is the Ezreal ultimate. Unfortunately, the Ezreal ultimate did not connect with anyone, as far as I could tell. Still, though, Fiesta looking to make sure this goes to a game 2. Kills are even, but they now have a 3k gold lead. They won that fight pretty convincingly. It was a 4v5 at first, and then once after the initial fight over and Smurf showed up, they were easily able to win that fight. Though once again, they are struggling on the Dragon department. And speaking of Dragon, Dragon is up in a minute. I have to see if Fiesta can change that around and pick up that Dragon for themselves. Looks like both Smurf and Carrie trying to pick up those buffs for themselves. They do get them. Not, of course, too much of an issue for them. Speaking of buffs, we're seeing Yenny also picking that red buff for himself. Now that things have slowed down. Item-wise, we see Cavalery has picked up a Dead Man's Plate, so that is going to make it a little easier for him to engage and stick to people. And Splinter kind of splintering his build path a little bit, has not finished the special cal and is instead working on some more health. Of course, that Giant's build can be built into any number of things. There is Dragon spawning. It is a Mountain Drake, and it is going to get engaged on by Fiesta here. Super trying to push in. There is the engage from Cavalery possibly. And it is going to be the first Dragon of the finals going over to Fiesta. For Fiesta's first Dragon, I should say, not the first Dragon of the finals. It's obviously incorrect. This is actually the 7th Dragon of the finals. There's 4 Dragons from the last match, plus the 3 Dragons from now. There's Ragnarok from Splinter. He's engaging super hard on the Hopeful. Hopeful's in a lot of trouble. He gets picked up super easily there. And a lot of damage also going onto Yenny. There's Cavalery eating a culling. And the rest of Fiesta backing out. A nice little pickup by Splinter. He's obviously been struggling a little this match, and he just dives right on in. And there's an engage by Arrow with the exploding casket. And Cavalery forced to use his ultimate to escape certain death there. Trying his best to make sure he dodges those skill shots, and of course he's doing a pretty decent job overall. So 1-for-1 still, though, in favor of nobody, because it was a 1-for-1 and nothing else was taken. Cavalery used his ultimate, but he is an Echo with all of CDR, so this, of course, is going to be back extremely quickly. How are CS doing? It looks like... slight advantages here and there, but that was because Cavalry was roaming around a lot, so of course he fell behind a little bit in CS to Splinter, who stayed in the lane pretty much the whole time. This game could still go either way. And that is going to be... That's Arrow... sorry, that's not Arrow. That's Cresto blocking out those skill shots with the wall. And we're seeing Fiesta gather up on that top side. There's Splinter is off by himself in that bot side, but both him and Cavalry are backing here, and the rest of both teams are in the top side trying to either take or defend this turret. Supernova not able to defend it as well as they like. Fiesta able to drop it down to lower than half. And there is some ward clearing going on. And of course there's Yenny with the poke on the Ezreal. He has opted for a Trinity Force instead of the Iceborne Gauntlet, so he is able to do a little bit higher poke, but his Mana Moon has not upgraded to a Muramana yet. There's Yenny. Yenny could be in trouble here. He almost gets stunned up. There's the culling. Smurf actually cancels it out to dodge away. It does not quite get Cocoon. The Cocoon does not land from overraid, I should say. So, still, no deaths there. The both Smurf and Yenny almost putting themselves in trouble. Though, thanks to Philly Soraka, Yenny is able to stay a little safer. And I missed it, but Cavalry flashed. I'm not entirely sure where that came from. Might have been during that fight. Maybe he wanted to flash over the wall. I'm not sure. Somehow we also missed it. Splinter used his TP somewhere. Yeah, and that is Splinter also picking up a Dead Man's Plate. So that is both top laners with Dead Man's Plates. Both good items for helping enable engages from characters who don't have the best engages in the world. Overall, very good sticky item too, because of the built-in slow once it reaches full momentum. We're seeing Fiesta doing their best to make sure they get vision control in these jungles, using those red trinkets, dropping their wards and trinkets of their own. But while they're doing that, we do see Smurf is in the top side. He is picking up that red buff for himself, so that is going to mean that we are not going to see any kind of engagements from Fiesta, just them trying to make sure they secure vision control. And Philly looking to make sure that they take that vision control back as best they can, at least. You know, Cavalry eating a little bit of damage there, but he is going to get healed up by Philly. Yenny dodging away from the charm, not getting charmed up, because that could be disastrous, to say the least. And Cavalry is going to be able to pick up that pink ward, and now is going to work on the scare. We see Baron is going to be up in 10 seconds. And we saw how aggressively Supernova was in the last game with trying to take those Barons. You're seeing Fiesta. As a group, they're moving into the Baron area, trying to clear out some wards. Are they going to try and Baron here? Surely not. They do clear out the trinket that gets dropped there. They're walking into the pit. Maybe they want to try and do a little ambush gank here. They are doing a little ambush gank, but there is the Ezreal ultimate to say, nope, we suspect what you're doing, we're not letting it happen. Very wise scouting by Yenny. And now they're rotating to Dragon. Dragon's going to be up in about 5 seconds. They was worth the shot. We saw how aggressively both teams were wanting to do objectives here, and they wanted to see if they can lure Supernova into a trap. But the bait was not taken, but that is Dragon dropping super quickly. That is going to be the second Dragon for Fiesta being picked up. So that's 2 Dragons for both teams. Cavalry trying to get some poke in. He doesn't have a whole ton of AP, but that is still a decent slow. It looks like pretty much everybody from both teams have about 2 items finished. Pretty close, at least. Well, Fiesta trying to get a little bit of a catch here on Cavalry. They're able to pick him up before he can ult. So that is basically a nice little catch by Fiesta, taking advantage of that lack of vision on the side of Supernova. Actually, there isn't a whole lot of lack of vision. There are actually wards all over there, but I guess somehow they're able to sneak in. And they're taking full advantage of the fact that it's a 4v5. They're whittling away at this mid turret. And are they going to be able to get it? Smurf tried to stick around, but he gets casketed using the calling onto Arrow. Arrow, super tanky, takes almost no damage from that. They're able to barely defend that tier 2 mid turret. So it'll probably end up going down in the next wave. We see Splinter off on the side on his own, whittling away at that bottom turret. He has a lot of health now, so he is not nearly as squishy as before. He's going to be significantly harder to take down now he's working, especially now he's working on a Spirit Visage. He has that Kindle Gem. So that does give him a nice balance of stats with the health, armor, and magic resist. Where are they going now? Seeing both Overrate and Unlucky Harry have picked up Rylai's, they're also significantly more durable with the health from the Rylai's. Seeing Overrate and Cresto trying to get some vision down. There's Cavalry dodging the cocoon, using his ultimate to try and get away. He does manage to dodge the Winter's Bite, so he's not going to get caught out again like he did before. That's got to, unfortunately, feel bad for him. And we're seeing Fiesta trying to slowly put pressure on all of the lanes. There's Arrow getting caught out, unfortunately. He gets Shane CC'd up really easily. He's not able to get away. He does not have as much health as he would like, probably. And with it once again being a 4v5 in favor of Fiesta, they're likely going to easily be able to either take a turret or take Baron. And they're opting for Baron, with Splinter off on the bottom side, fighting off against Cavalry. And that is a Baron that is melting really quickly. Unlucky Carry, trying to use the charm to try and burst down Hopeful, but that is a barrier and a shield on Hopeful. Negates most of the damage, and now Yenny trying to pick him up, but he gets charmed himself, but he is able to survive long enough to make sure that he picks up Unlucky Carry now. Overrate trying to get him, he does end up picking up Yenny, so there's a 1-for-1. There's a flash from Cresto. He's getting chased down by Cavalry. But it looks like Cresto might be able to get away. It's really close. Cavalry needs one more hit, maybe. Unfortunately, he's not able to get the third proc, but he's able to pick up Cresto just fine. We're seeing that Arrow responding to that bottom push from Splinter. Splinter able to pick up that tier 2 bottom turret. And during that whole mess, we did see that Baron was still picked up by Fiesta. So still pretty good overall situation for Fiesta. 1 for 2, but they all managed to secure Baron and a bottom turret. I'm seeing the next dragon is a minute and a half. Minute and 40 seconds, but minute and a half still. Think Cavalry working on some more AP, it looks like. Nope, I lied. He sold the Dark Seal for a pink ward. Nah, the volume's not the problem. It's just sometimes I lose focus on what I'm trying to listen to. I can only do so many things at once. That is a vision getting picked up there. At least I don't think the volume's the issue. There's the lots of words going down. Fiesta now has, though the score is super even, it's definitely Fiesta with the lead currently. They're at about a 6k gold lead. That is the mid turret definitely going to be going down. There's not a whole lot Supernova there can do there. Fiesta having a much stronger showing despite how strong Cavalry was. And actually, yeah, that's basically Unlucky Carry and Overrider having much stronger games than Arrow and Hopeful. During the next lull, I can turn my volume up if it is a problem. Just give me... After this fight, probably. You're seeing Splinter's trying to wanted to maybe have a little engage there, but he is not interested in going through that tiny little hole in the jungle into 5 members. Because despite how much durability he has, he can still die very quickly if all 5 members are focusing on him. And of course, the full team wasn't there for Fiesta, so... Oh, Philly might be in trouble. He flashes out, but he is going to get focused super hard and does end up going down. He does not have much in the way of durability. Yeti also eating quite a bit of poke. He's dropped down to half health, and without their support, it is a 4v5, and then this Dragon likely can get over Fiesta again. Fiesta having lots of surprise ganks. Arrow being super aggressive, flashes over and smites this Elder Dragon. So that is Elder Dragon going over to Supernova. He does end up going down, but that is a 1 for Dragon is a worthy trade. They actually pick up Cresto there too, so that is a... actually, technically 1 for 2 since Philly did end up going down before that. And it led to the Dragon being started after all. Still, though, that's super impressive. Okay, now that that's done, I can take the opportunity to maybe turn the volume up. Hopefully that's better. Oh, Philly getting stunned up again, but he does have a shield this time. Unfortunately, it was also just over right there to do damage to him. And is the blue buff going to go over to Hopeful? It looked like it. No. No, Unlucky Carry must have secured it, I think. The RIQ must have managed to snag it on the return. We're seeing Arrow has decided that he's going to back here on the top side. We're seeing Fiesta gathering up, wanting to push that top side together. That turret is less than half health. We're seeing Cavalry being super aggressive, just dives right on past him to help join the rest of his team. Overrate and Cresto are separating, going through the jungle, clearing out some wards. And Splinter, once again, split pushing. Should have been Splitter, not Splinter. Would have been more appropriate here. So he is splintering from the team. We're seeing Unlucky Carry taking quite a bit of damage there. He's dropped down to less than half. Seeing that he is eating tons of poke from Yenny. Yenny is a huge threat. He has that Blade of the Ring King and a Muramana. There's the culling from Smurf, but it only tickles a few people. There's Philly doing his best to keep the rest of his team healthy. Seeing Cavalry is kind of off by himself while the rest of Fiesta and Supernova are poking it out. We're seeing that Splinter has also picked up Steric's Gauge, that he is a monster in terms of durability. Lots of health. And we're seeing Cavalry has opted for Guardian Angel. He does like his Guardian Angel. And of course it's going to make Echo super sticky and super annoying to get rid of. Cavalry is scouting things out. And Smurf is going to be able to pick up that red buff. There is vision there. They do know where he is at. He is opting to go to top lane to maybe possibly fight it out with Splinter. I don't know who could win that. Splinter has more health and more in terms of damage items because he does have Steric's Gauge and Black Cleaver. But I don't know how Echo sits now that his hybrid builds, tank builds have been nerfed as much as they have been. Because I know he used to be super strong with the base damage. And as far as we can see, he's still pretty strong. It's just not as powerful as it used to be. Speaking of Guardian Angel, we see Overrate has also picked up a Guardian Angel. Cavalry and Overrate trying to go at it. There is Arrow to stay high with the Exploding Casket. Overrate flashing over, trying to stay safe with Cresto covering his back. There was a... Looks like Splinter got spotted out by Vision there. They do know of a vague idea where he's at. There is a ward right there. Supernova trying to make sure they take control of the Vision around Baron. It'll be interesting to see what Cavalry does with his last item, because he does have the one more item slot. He has it covered by a Corrupting Potion currently. Whereas Splinter has already started his 6th item. He has that Chain Vest. So that could be built into a lot of things, since it is a Chain Vest. Speaking of Cavalry, building another armor. He has that Warden's Mill, so that could be Frozen Heart. I almost said Frozen Armor, which is, I guess, technically correct, but could also be Iceborne. No, it can't be Iceborne. It could be Randuin's or Frozen Heart. And Baron getting started. It is melting under Fiesta, and Supernova not able to stop. They are not even close. There's the Ragnarok. There's the culling. Fiesta wisely deciding they're not interested in backing out. There's Cavalry getting caught out. Is the Guardian Angel popped? He's not going to be able to get us, I don't think. There is the Braum ultimate actually predicting the flash. Cavalry using his ultimate to try and stay alive a little longer, but unfortunately it's not good. He used flash, he used TP, he used Guardian Angel. He used his ultimate and was not able to do anything with it. Unfortunately, he was the only one there. The rest of Supernova was kind of forced out. They were not able to get in position to get into a good fight. They would have to walk through a huge, nice, beefy frontline wall to get to him. And that is Fiesta trying to do as much damage with their momentum as they can here. They've picked up that middle inhibitor. Now they're working on the bottom side. Actually, from seeing how far Supernova is now, they're actually 10k goal behind now. And not everybody has finished their 5th item yet, whereas most of Fiesta has. There's that turret getting melted by the Baron pressure. It is going to go down very likely, if not now, in the next wave for sure. There's Cavalry getting stunned up a little bit. He's eating the full culling and just melting. But he does use the ultimate to heal himself back up. There's also Philly there on that Soraka, keeping him alive. It's not over, but this is not good for Supernova. Cavalry getting stunned up once again. He is almost dead, not quite. There's the heals from Philly, keeping him alive. There's a shockwave by. It catches 4 members. There's Splinter going to go down. Overrate trying to do his best to kill somebody there, but unfortunately, only Arrow goes down. That is a almost clean ace by Supernova. That shockwave, that's amazing by Hopeful. Unlucky carry trying to get a pick here, but unfortunately he's forced to flash. Yenny is a huge threat to him with how much damage he can output. And he is going to be able to get away. That shockwave was great. That decided that fight right there. And Hopeful is behind right now. He has not finished his 5th item yet. After that fight, he probably is going to be able to finish his 5th item, but basically the rest of Fiesta is working on 6 items now. There it is. He's opting to, instead of finishing that Abyssal Scepter, he's going to go ahead and go for another big AP item. So it could be Zanya's, it could be Luden's Echo, it could be anything. There's a lot of things he can build out of that, of course. Arrow has finished another magic resist item, actually. He has a Banshee's Veil on top of Spirit Visage, so he is super concerned about getting killed by magic damage. There's Cavalry picking up some vision. He is super slippery, super durable. Unsung hero, of course, being Philly with those heals, keeping people alive while they're being stunned and charmed and all kinds of fun things. And that is going to be Scarab going over to Supernova there. Dragon is going to be up in a minute. You saw how aggressive Fiesta was trying to take that after they picked Philly, but then we saw the super amazing steal by Arrow, him just going right over the wall, no fear, and picking it up. That middle inhibitor is still down for Supernova, but they're doing what they can and keeping it pushed up so that there's minimal risk to them losing one of their Nexus turrets to that wave. How are they going to do this? Fiesta, once again, moving to that bottom side. They really want that bottom turret. And of course, if they get the bottom Nexus, it does leave Baron open. I shouldn't say that. It makes taking the next Baron super significantly easier because that bottom wave pressure is extremely dangerous from the super minions. And that top wave, you can see it right now, it is pushing slowly towards that tier 2 turret. And that makes taking this dragon a little easier. Though we do see all 5 members of Supernova there approaching Dragon. Dragon has actually been started. You can't see his health yet. Unfortunately, Supernova looks like they're going to go ahead and give it up. Maybe not. No. There's a pause. A little bit of error here. Some little issues going on. Not sure what's going on quite yet. Take this opportunity to make sure I do this. Don't want teams spying on each other while there's a pause, seeing their positioning. Probably a DC. Not entirely sure just yet. Still, this has been a long game. This is still game 2. We see a slight lead in gold for Fiesta, but we're at the point in the game where gold makes less of a difference than normal. Because everybody's at their 5th and 6th items pretty much. That exception being... looks like... who is full? Cavalry is almost at 6 items. Arrow is at 5 items. Hopeful is at 4 with 2 uncompleted items because he has opted. Oh, there we go. We're back. Dragon has been pulled with Overrate in the pit. Dragon has been pulled out of the pit a little bit as best they can. Jeez, that's such a big dragon. Supernova trying to get in position to try and get in there, but here's Splinter from the side, and he is extremely dangerous to Hopeful or Yenny. Despite how long Supernova is not able to get in there, that Dragon's doing work. There is Supernova. They're able to get in from the side. They're able to start pushing in. There's a bit of a pause again. What's going on, guys? He DC'd again. Somebody is DCing, unfortunately. So hopefully these issues get resolved, because I don't want us to... kind of a poor way to end our final. Unfortunately, Splinter is a huge part of the composition coming out of Fiesta. He's a huge presence in that backline when he dives into the backline of Supernova, I should say. You can't ignore him, but they can't see him either. We're back! Okay. And we're seeing lots of backs coming out of Fiesta. Just a couple. A little cocoon coming out over right. There's actually the top turret for Supernova is down. Those minions are doing work. Just seeing Cavalry's in the pit. He's going to go ahead and dash on out after the dragon gets poked. Dragon's actually out of the pit quite a bit. And we're seeing Splinter, after having backed, has opted to go to top lane instead of joining the team fight at Dragon. He's going to look to try and split push while Cavalry tries to save the day. Now, Splinter has TP and Cavalry does not. That's actually huge here. And Cavalry, knowing that, is going to try and do some damage here to Splinter. Both have their GAs. And honestly, I have no idea how this fight's going to go. Another pause. Come on, guys! What's going on? I'm not even going to switch this time. Everybody knows where everybody's at. Is it another DC? I think so. That's the only thing I can think of. Well, all 5 members are moving again. Something still worth noting is that Splinter still has TP. Cavalry does not. But I'm not sure Splinter can beat Cavalry. Judging from how those trades are going, Cavalry was able to disengage constantly from Splinter. And speaking of, they're going at it again. Oh, Fiesta is going to try and burst down Baron again. But all 5 members of Supernova are extremely close, and by try, I mean they are bursting Baron down. Jesus, it's melting fast. Arrow tried to flash over the wall and get the steal, but unfortunately not much is able to happen there. Splinter popping Ragnarok, going right for Philly, but he is going to go down. Arrow going down to Smurf there. There's Cavalry diving on in. There's the GA popped now. Overrate is in trouble. He's super low, but he still has GA. There's the flash from Overrate, from Cavalry, I should say. Philly trying his best to keep Cavalry alive. Yenny's able to pick up Smurf there, and I lied. Splinter did not go down. It looked like it, but unfortunately the camera did not stay long enough for me to see. So that is a 2-for-1 going in favor of Fiesta. And still, that's even Fiesta's coming out even more ahead, since they did also pick up Baron. And there's a ping onto Elder Dragon. They want to grab it while they can. They have a jungler, and Supernova does not. That is unlucky Carry going to get that blue buff for himself. There is Elder Dragon getting engaged on. It is actually dying quite quickly. There's Yenny with the Ezreal ultimate to try and see what's happening. Unfortunately, all he does is help do damage to it. He wants to try and steal, but there's Cresto wisely using the Braum Shield to block any damage. And that is both big objectives going over to Fiesta. We're seeing Cavalry has picked up a Randuin's. So that is going to give him quite a bit of health. And we're seeing Hopeful has picked up a Rylai's. But that is all 5 members of Fiesta. They are full builds. There's not much more they can buy other than the elixirs and potions. Whereas Supernova still needs a bit more time to get to full build, with looks like 3 members not at full build. That middle inhibitor has no turret. The inhibitor is open. Not down, of course, it is open. That is Fiesta's first target of business now that they have both Baron and Elder Dragon. It is going to be hard to see Supernova coming out on top without a super powerful Orianna ultimate again. We're seeing Splinter has sold his GA for his drop portal. And there he is in that top lane split pushing. He does have TP. Now that Cavalry has TP, he can contest a little better in that top side. Arrow taking a lot of damage there, unfortunately. That is the middle inhibitor easily going down. And it looks like Fiesta is going to opt to go for topside and try to get this turret down. And by try, I mean probably. Look how fast it is taking damage. There is a nice little 3-man stun by Reverie, but there's not a whole lot of follow-up. And there's a nice shockwave by Orianna. There's the exploding casket from Arrow. Fortunately, Reverie and Arrow are just melting under the damage. Only Reverie goes down there. Arrow is able to get out. But no one from Fiesta is down just yet. And while all that is going down, we see Splinter has rotated bottom side and is going to use that minion wave to help push up. There's Yenny getting stunned. He's in huge trouble. He gets perma-CC'd all the way to death. And that is Fiesta picking up another kill. Look how low so many of the members are, but they are not dead. And now that I say that, we do see that Cresto does get picked up by Hopeful. Hopeful is not something you can underestimate. Arrow getting focused down by Smurf and overrated. He is pretty durable now, though, so he does able to survive. There is Unlucky Carry getting a little bit of damage there. He gets exploding casketed into Hopeful and Philly. He does go down, so Arrow trading 1-for-1 there. And that is 3 members of Supernova going down for 2 members of Fiesta, but that is all 3 inhibitors open. And by open, I mean down. All 3 inhibitors are down. That is a really, really solid push by Fiesta. They're able to get all that for 1 Baron, 1 Elder Dragon. But Supernova holding on nice and tight. It'll be interesting to see if they can make any more difference once they have all their items. And we can see again that Splinter has sold his Rot Portal for Guardian Angel. And now Cresto has a Rot Portal. He's using it on that bottom side. Well, look at all those minions pushing onto those Nexus turrets. And not as much AoE on the side of Supernova as they'd like, I imagine. There's the culling, but unfortunately it doesn't do a whole lot of damage to anyone. Overrated getting poked really hard by Yenny. Now Splinter's also getting poked a little hard by Yenny. Arrow getting stunned up by the Winter's Bite. Reverie also getting a little bit of Winter's Bite action there, but only 1 proc, and he gets shielded by Hopeful's Orianna. How long do these inhibitors have? These inhibitors aren't quite halfway yet, but they're slowly recharging. You see the little ring around on the inhibitor. Shows how long it has to go. That one's only about a quarter done. So Supernova not out of the woods yet. We're actually seeing 100k gold from Fiesta. Full builds all the way around. And we're seeing Arrow has finished his 6th item. And Hopeful has finished his 6th item. Only Philly needs to finish his 6th item now. And it is a Rakra Cloak item, so that could be a Rot Portal of his own. To help counter Cresto's Rot Portal. There is Baron respawning in 4 seconds. Fiesta is in position to secure it with Splinter off on the bottom side all by himself. And look how fast it goes down with just 4 members. That makes sense. It is this late in the game with full builds. And now those inhibitors are still down. Fiesta might be able to end the game here. Seeing how much the difference those respect bands did to Arrow and Reverie. Though both of them still having okay games. Arrow maybe not so much on the Gragas. And there is all those minions pushing on those Nexus turrets. That Nexus turret on the top is almost down. There's an engage by Arrow. There's the exploding casket hitting Smurf. Smurf flashing out. I didn't lie. He didn't flash. He just dashed and healed. He's trying to get engaged on by Arrow. Arrow's going down to both him and Overrate, though. And there is Splinter trying his best to try and stop Reverie. That is both turrets going down. That is a Nexus. That is Fiesta taking this to a game 3. Very, very good game by Fiesta. They took control. It stayed even throughout the game in terms of kills, but they were taking objectives, they were taking minions, they took everything pretty much. They were actually able to secure dragons this game, so that helped. And after that, they made sure that Arrow couldn't do too much to take objectives, though we did see that nice steal by Arrow. And with that, we are going to move into Game 3. We'll be back shortly, guys. I need to go to the bathroom, personally. I imagine some of our players also need to do that, because that was a 56-minute game, almost 57 minutes. Alright, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Okay, given the nature of our Fiesta's circumstances, they're going to go ahead and end up forfeiting. It was still a brilliantly played last match. This tournament could have gone either way, but just the way things are going, they are having DC issues in their top lane, and it looks like they both need to go to bed for work and such, which I completely understand because I am working tomorrow, and I definitely need to be going to bed soon because it is 12 in the morning. Still, GG to both teams. Last match could have gone either way, and the match that could have been played just now could either have gone either way. So, hopefully we can see everyone again next week. Thanks for watching, guys. Just so everybody knows, I am EffectFX. I'm the caster that is always here. My co-caster tonight, not quite able to show up because he is on vacation in Central America. Before we go, what am I forgetting anything here? Let me think. Sponsors. We are sponsored by both Battlefly, who is, of course, the service we use to run our tournaments and brackets. Brawl History app, which is basically na.opg on your phone, specifically iPhone and Android. They have apps there. And last, but certainly not least, we have Vibi, which is the highlight service we use. Service might be inaccurate because it's free. Basically, it's just something you put on. You take your video that you want to make highlights out of, and you put it on their website, and you can make highlights on their website without downloading software, and it creates the video for you. So really very easy to use, very simple, and it's awesome. So if you guys want to create highlight videos, that's something that you can try to do. And with that, I think that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. If you have any feedback, feel free to give it. You can find me on Twitter at EffectFX, EFFECTFX. And I think that's going to be it. I think we're going to bed. Thanks for watching, guys. Night.